Welcome to the Empower Her podcast. I'm Deanna, an ex-corporate manager turned certified coach, empowering you to create the life of your dreams. My goal is to guide you and support you in understanding what you really want in life, what steps to take to get there, and learn to actually enjoy the ride. Whether you are climbing the corporate ladder, a stay-at-home parent, or an entrepreneur, I coach you on how to believe you are worthy of a balanced, happy, and energetically positive life in work and at home. My goal in this podcast is to help you recognize patterns, implement change, and use your energy for positivity within yourself and your own life. I believe you don't have to suffer in this lifetime. You can create a life on your terms based on what you want, regardless of what that looks like. It is about reframing your beliefs, letting go of negative thoughts, and looking at your life as a set of opportunities there for you. I'm so excited to get started. Hello, and welcome back to the Empower Her podcast. Happy New Year, everyone. I hope you all had an amazing holiday season, an amazing New Year's. We had an episode right before the New Year last week, and I hope your New Year was absolutely amazing and abundant and joyful. Whatever you did, if you went out, if you stayed home, if you were by yourself, if you were with friends, family, loved ones, I hope it was amazing. And if you listened to last week's episode, which if you haven't, I definitely would, because today we're going to build on that. We talked last week about how to manifest, how to create your vision board, right? That's super important. And today we're going to talk about how to actually take those visions, how to actually take what you manifested, how to actually take what's on your vision board and actually set goals so that your vision can come to life. I talk about this every year, but this is the biggest mistake that people make. I think there's a statistic like 70% of New Year's resolutions people don't keep going with them after like January or like February 1st or something. So it's crazy. It's a big amount, right? And I want you to stick to your manifestations or aspirations. If you don't follow Eli Rallo on Instagram and TikTok, she's amazing. She's a writer. She's so funny and just has like super great takes. And she actually called New Year's resolutions aspirations, which I really like that concept because sometimes resolutions gives off the vibes that, oh, you're doing something wrong, so you need to change versus what am I aspiring to this year? So that's just a little language shifting, mindset shift for you in case you need it this year. So we can call them aspirations because I love what she said. But again, this is the reason so many people fall off their manifestations and their goals because you set these big attainable goals, but you're not creating a strategy, right? And the thing is manifesting is not just about wishing for something and hoping for the best, right? You can't just say, oh, I want a new car and these are the parameters and I'm going to slap it on my vision board and then we're done, right? Like that's only part of the way, right? Now we've gotten the manifestation part, but you actually have to take aligned action to get to getting that car that you want, right? And that's where the goals come in, right? So you have to have the right energy when it comes to goal setting. That's why I always talk about how important mindset work and nervous system regulation is, because if you aren't aligned energetically or you're not at least working on being aligned, it's going to be so much harder, right? Like you have to be in the right energetic state. So ask yourself, are there things you put on your vision board? Are all the things you put on your vision board really aligned with you? This is just a good time to take an audit. It's something you can always do, right? And ask yourself, are the goals you want to achieve, right? Those things on your vision board, what you want, are they coming from a place of abundance? Are you grateful for the life that you currently have, right? You have to think about these before you can get into goal setting because again, if you're setting goals that you don't feel aligned with, then they're not going to come to fruition. So these are things you really have to think about, okay? Think about your goals before you dive into them. I so many times would set goals that just didn't end up being aligned with me, and then I was like, I wonder why, right? Like in my business, for example, I was seeing what everyone else was doing. They were creating programs left and right. They were doing all these things. And you know what? It didn't feel aligned with me and it didn't work in my business. And now I've completely changed my strategy and it's working. I'm getting the results that I want because it feels authentic, it feels natural, and it really aligns with me and not what I think should align with me, right? So that's super, super important. I also used to want things like, 2 years ago, I was like, oh, when I have enough money, I'll buy myself a Chanel bag. Well, do I really want a Chanel bag? Actually, I don't. And I don't care about a Chanel bag, right? And again, this is no hate to anybody who wants a Chanel bag or anything materialistic. I like other things that are materialistic. A Chanel bag, I thought that's what I wanted. That's what I saw people had. It's a nice bag. But do I actually deep down care? No. Now I don't care about a Chanel bag. If I had an extra $6,000, $10,000, I wouldn't be spending it on a Chanel bag. Let's just put it that way, right? I would do something that feels more aligned to me, like travel or, save it for something later down the line. So that's just something to consider as well, is just making sure that before you dive into your goals that they actually feel aligned to you. It's going to be really important. And something else I want to mention before we get into the steps on how to set goals, I want you to look at this like baby steps every day and every week, right? We create these massive goals for 6 months, for a year. And while that's great to have a vision of where you want to be and it's great to have goals, if you're only focusing on the year from now, the 6 months from now, you are not going to be able to take the steps every day because you won't know what those steps are and it's going to feel overwhelming. So we want to get to a place where we can really break down your manifestations into small attainable goals so that you can actually bring it to fruition. Okay. So let's dive in. These are going to be step-by-steps on how to set goals. So if you want to get out a pen, piece of paper, write it in your notes. I'm going to give you the breakdown on how you need to set your goals. Okay. This is assuming you've done your manifestations, you know what you want as your goals this year. You have all that written down. Now we're going to try to figure out how we can actually achieve that. Okay. So the first thing you want to do is break your goals down into micro steps. This is what I was already talking about, right? You want to divide your big goals into smaller, manageable tasks, okay? You want to focus on one step at a time to avoid feeling overwhelmed, right? Because these small wins that you have build momentum. So, for example, let's say you want to start your own business, right? Okay, let's say in a year you want to have your own business up and running. Okay, what is one thing you can do now? Maybe it's claim your Instagram handle. Maybe it's write out a budget for yourself of how much money you need to save this year so that you can start your business, right? Maybe it's reaching out to someone and just having like an initial conversation about your website, right? Whatever it is, one small step, and write down every week what is one thing you are going to be doing. And then you can break it down into the days too. Let's say you're manifesting a vacation, right? A first step could be, just doing a 20-minute audit of your current bank account, where you are, how much you're spending every month, just see where you're at and what balance you have to work with. Then the next step could be maybe you're tracking your balance for 2 months to see where the money is going, how everything's going, right? And then maybe the third month, you are focusing on saving a certain amount as well as starting to spend, 20 minutes a week scrolling, looking at different vacations, right? Like break it down into week by week, very small steps, and then again into daily tasks if you need, okay? The second thing, step 2, is to create a consistent routine, okay? So basically, you need to make sure that you're aligning your daily habits with your goals, okay? You need to be consistent, okay? This means setting aside dedicated time each day or week to work on your vision, even if it's just 15 minutes. So again, this is where the consistency comes in that I mentioned earlier, is spend time every single day, okay? At least just thinking about your vision, okay? So even if it's just a journal prompt, even if it's just doing mindset work, right? 5 minutes every day saying your affirmations, Focus on this every day. Maybe even have a check-in with yourself. Some people love to have a check-in where it's like every Sunday I'm going to check in on my goals, see what I did this week, see what I didn't do, and we can go from there, right? Like that's a great way to do it too. Just make sure you're being consistent. If it helps, put a calendar notification in your calendar, put a reminder on, put sticky notes up on your mirror, like do what you got to do to make sure that you are going to remember and you're going to continue to be consistent. And then depending on what your goal is, align your daily habits, right? So let's say your habit is to get healthier, right? Okay, so maybe a daily habit is drinking 3, glasses of water after every meal. I'm just making that up. Or it's like move your body every day for at least 10 minutes, okay? Are your daily habits aligning with your goals? You need to think about it, right? Like if the goal is to be healthier, whatever that looks like for you, are your daily habits aligned with that? Same with getting your dream car. Are your daily habits aligned with that? Would the version of you who's trying to save up for your dream car go on a really expensive vacation? Maybe not. Maybe you're going to go on a vacation that isn't so expensive so you can put the rest of it aside for your car, right? Again, think about those daily habits. If you want that expensive car, are you saying positive and abundant things to yourself? What are you talking about in your head? What time are you waking up, right? If you want to start your own business, how are you scheduling out your day? Like think about the version of you that already has what you want and then see and write down what you think their habits would be and then implement those. The third thing, which we already talked about, is having visual reminders. So visual reminders are super helpful. So this is basically keeping your vision in front of you, like literally. So what I personally do is I'm a passive manifester in human design, and you can look this up in your human design. There's active and passive. I'm a passive manifester, which means I'm not supposed to be obsessed in the details of my manifestations every minute of every day. So I take more of a passive approach. So I have my vision board on my laptop lock screen and my screensaver. So it's there, but it's not like it's always in my face, if that makes sense. Like I passively look at it. I, implement daily habits that I have, whether it's affirmations, whether it's mindset work, whatever it is. And that really helps me to kind of get in the mood. I love having a really positive screensaver on my phone that I feel like really aligns with what I'm manifesting. So again, have visual reminders, whether it's again on your laptop, on your phone wallpaper. You can put stickies on your bathroom mirror, put them on your desk, by your bedside, right? Like have daily reminders and visual reminders of what you're trying to manifest. Step 4 is to track your progress. So I often find that people feel so discouraged when we're talking about long-term goals because they don't see their progress, right? All they're thinking of is, I still don't have that car. I still haven't launched my business. I still don't have the new job, right? Okay, but what about everything in between? If you want a new job, have you applied to 20 jobs this month? That's an accomplishment. Have you had 2 interviews? That's an accomplishment, right? So I would really recommend like a weekly, if you're doing like a check-in with yourself, is to really like use a journal prompt or an app or the planner and really write down your accomplishments, your setbacks, next steps, and really celebrate your wins. Okay. It is really important to celebrate your wins so that you can stay motivated. I really recommend you do this on a weekly basis, but if not weekly, at least a monthly basis to really track your progress. I guarantee this is going to help you be so much more confident. It's going to bring you gratitude. It's going to help you really tap in to what you're doing, which is going to be so, so great. The next thing you need to do, which I think is super, super important, is surround yourself with supportive individuals. Okay. So, a lot of people believe, this is just depending on what you believe, but some people believe you shouldn't share your manifestations because of the evil eye and people want bad for you. Other people think you should share your manifestations because it's almost like you're saying it out to the universe and like making sure it's going to happen. What I say to this is do what works for you, right? Like do what works for you. Do what you feel good. For me personally, I share my manifestations with my husband and maybe like certain aspects with 1 or 2 people. But with my business, I really just keep it to myself. He's pretty much the only person that I share my business manifestations with. That's just what feels comfortable to me. Obviously, I talk about work on a daily basis with him. And so I feel like he needs to know so that he knows what I'm talking about. But I don't feel the need to share it with everyone else. But again, if you do want to share it with people, you can as well. But again, surround yourself with supportive people, even if they know what your manifestations are or not. It's really helpful to be around people who not only are going to encourage and uplift you, but maybe are in positions that you want to be in, right? They feel aspirational. So think about having even a mentor, right? Or being a part of a supportive, like-minded community, or having an accountability partner that's in a similar situation as you, right? Having those people around you is going to make a massive difference when it comes to your motivation and really staying on track. Another tip or a next step, I would say these aren't necessarily in order, but practice self-compassion. Okay. I see so many of my clients, especially, they're so hard on themselves, and it's such a bummer because they're doing so good. And I just really think that we really need to give ourselves grace and gratitude, especially if we're talking about goals that are long-term, 6 months to a year. Why do you expect yourself to be on top of it every day? Why do you expect yourself to be perfect every day, right? That's crazy. So progress is not linear, right? Setbacks happen. You're going to have bad days, off days. That is completely normal. That is part of the human experience. So just really have gratitude for yourself. Be grateful for what you're doing. Don't be too hard on yourself. And it's okay to not have a perfect day. This is definitely something that I would sort of look at when you're doing that weekly or that monthly check-in with yourself. The next thing that works really well as a tip is incorporating rewards. So kind of alongside of this of giving yourself self-compassion, really celebrate your milestones, right? I often tell my clients, you had an interview, go celebrate. It doesn't matter what the outcome of the interview is, go celebrate. You did great this month, go celebrate, right? Make sure that you're giving yourself rewards. You can do a monthly reward system for yourself or have certain milestones. For example, if you have a 6-month goal, a goal that you want in 6 months, I would definitely think about maybe six different milestones that you have and give yourself a reward for each. And this can be something small, like going to get your favorite latte or getting your nails done or, having a spa day, whatever that looks like to you, give yourself those rewards. The next tip is really important, and that's to prioritize energy management. Okay. I see so many of my clients. I work with a lot of career coaching clients who really want to find a new job or up level, and they have this idea in their head that this needs to happen in a certain amount of time. And it's usually a long period of time, right? We're talking about 6 months, 7 months, 8 months, and they often burn out because they're not taking care of their physical, emotional, and mental well-being. Okay. It is imperative that while you are working towards your goals, you are still getting proper rest. You are nourishing your body. You are doing self-care. You have downtime for yourself, right? The goal is not for 6 months to a year while you're trying to get the goal to literally go balls to the wall and not have any free time and not take care of yourself, right? You're just going to burn out, and actually it's going to prevent you from bringing your manifestations to life. So if you really want to have the proper energy, if we're talking from a spiritual perspective, if we're talking from a physical perspective energy, then you really have to make sure that you are prioritizing your energy, right? You need to take time to rest. I actually believe that taking time to rest during the week is going to make you more productive, and you will actually get more done versus if you power through. So definitely take that into consideration. And then the last tip 9 or step 9, again, not in order, is to stay flexible. Okay. Life happens, shit happens. Be open to adjusting your timeline or approach without losing sight of your vision or without freaking out. Okay. There's so many times where I had a vision and I was like, I need this to be done by this time, right? And it wasn't done. And you know what? That's okay. It wasn't the end of the world, right? It really wasn't. So being flexible and understanding that life really happens, and that's normal. Okay. These were my tips. Definitely, if you did your vision board and you're manifesting this year, put these tips into practice. Set small goals for yourself. Take all these other aspects into consideration, and you're going to do amazing. You got this. And again, you don't need to spend hours and hours and hours every week working on your goals. You don't. You really don't. Depending on what your goal is, it could be anywhere from 1 hour to, 5 or 6 or 7 hours a week. It depends what you want when you want it, but we shouldn't be spending a full-time job working on our goals every week, right? That's not realistic, okay? That's a myth, and I don't subscribe to that. Incorporate those small habits and tasks that will help you, and really create a schedule and priorities and energy that's going to work for you. And again, it's all about starting small, building it up, and creating those really small tasks but achievable goals that are going to get you to where you want to be, okay? And it really is about your energy, your gratitude, the way you're feeling, your mindset, nervous system regulation, all of those things in order to get to where you want to be. Okay. I hope this was helpful. I'm so excited for you to have everything you wanted come to life this year. I really have so much positive energy about 2025. I hope you do as well. And I'm wishing you such an amazing start to your new year. Happy January. I hope this episode really, really inspired you, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye, everyone. And if you love this episode, don't forget to follow the podcast and leave a review. And of course, you can follow me at Coach Deanna DeBolt on TikTok and Instagram. I'll catch you next time.